Today's a little bit of a different topic for me. People ask me, we didn't know that you did recruiting. And we've kind of kept that on the down low for a number of years because we've been seen basically as executive coaches, behavioral experts. You know that we created DISC reports and DISC assessments and digitized them, and we sell them all over the world. But what people don't realize is behind the scenes, we're really team builders. That is what really gets us going. And one of the ways that we help our clients is we do help them recruit. And it started kind of by happenstance, where they'd say, listen, we've made some hiring mistakes. People didn't work out the way we thought they were going to. Could you come in and assess them or be part of our interviewing process? And that's how we started. And then over a period of time, our services grew and grew and grew. And now we do full service boutique recruiting, which is really awesome because we get to set the strategy for the team, work with the hiring manager, and make sure that they've got a solid strategy for building their team in the short and the long term. So people say to me, are you magical? How do you actually do this? So, and what makes you different? So today's video is going to tell you exactly the secret sauce behind it, how we do it, and how it came to be. So the first thing we do, if you know anything about us, we assess the current team. I personally think that if you're going to bring somebody into the team, you need to know what we call the team's governing behavior of that team so that you can actually assess not only the performance of the team, the behaviors of the team, and then the attendance parameters, which are, is it flex time? Do people have to travel? Where they're going to be working? How many days in the office? Those type of things are attendance parameters. The how people do things, that's the behavioral side, and that's really our forte in comparison to other recruiting firms. And then, of course, the performance side. Do they have experience, the skills, the prerequisites that are required for that particular position? So the first thing you do is you go in and assess that team, and every single one of the team members, the hiring manager, goes through our assessment process prior to actually posting the job or making the job description. Big part of it. And what we do is we also provide feedback to the hiring manager, to the interviewing panel about what the team's current governing behaviors are, what changes they might want to make, what their strategy is moving forward. Do they want to change those governing behaviors, or are they set? Which leads us to the next part of it. We really want to analyze that job, that new job posting in terms of the big three, which is performance, those skills, those prerequisites, those have-to-haves for the position, that experience. The next one is behavior, and that's kind of the maturity for the position, how they're going to go about their duties, their communication style, are they introvert or extrovert? Those are all behaviors. And then finally, again, back to the attendance parameters. How often, where do you have to go? What are you doing? What are the work hours? Those are all the attendance parameters. So that's the next thing we do. And then what makes us really different is we want to determine, based on those PBAs, which is performance, behavior, and attendance parameters, what are we really looking for? Are we looking for somebody that has just left the organization or the team who is a rock star? Do we want to clone that person and get somebody very similar in behavior, performance, and attendance? Or in looking at the team objectively, do we want to actually fill some behavioral gaps, some performance gaps, some attendance gaps, maybe time zone problems are existing for customer service, whatever that is, do we want to actually fill some gaps? Or is it a combination of both? Do we want some of those behaviors that we have, some performance, some skills that we have, some attendance parameters that we have, and do we also need to fill the gap? And that's really what's going to set your strategy in motion, your hiring strategy in motion. Is it fill the gap? Is it cloning? Or is it a combination of that? And we get real specific on that. Now, the reason that we do that is twofold. One is you're going to attract the right candidates when you set those parameters up properly. And it also narrows your search down and sets the tone for the interviewing panel so that you're not all over the board kind of falling in love with somebody or not liking somebody. when you're in that interviewing process. So the more specific we get about those cloning or fill the gap criteria, the better it's going to be. And then what we do is we actually, because we're in training and development and executive coaching, we actually are going to craft a killer job description for you and use the words that resonate with the heart and soul of the people that you want to actually hire. And we look at it like this. We want to get that perfect candidate or the perfect candidates in for you. We call them purple squirrels. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that 1 in 1,000, 1 in 500, 1 in a million type of purple squirrel. Put them in front of you so that you've got the best candidate. And it starts with the job description. We do put job descriptions that resonate behaviorally, performance, and attendance-wise, and we make sure that we spend a lot of time crafting those job descriptions. It's one of the things we kind of laugh at when we're looking at Indeed or LinkedIn or whatever. We see all these job descriptions out there, and some of them are just boring, and the other ones, they don't resonate properly with the candidates that you would want. So we make sure those job descriptions are really what we call killer job descriptions. And then after we've got the killer job description, you don't want, when you've got a purple squirrel in front of the interviewing panel, for the interviewing panel to kind of blow the interview. So we train the interviewing panel and the hiring manager and anybody else who's involved in that process. We provide feedback. We tell them what we're looking for. We tell them the whole strategy so that any inadvertent biases aren't coming into play, and everybody's on the same page with what their role in the interviewing process is. And we spend a lot of time doing that as well. And then after everybody's trained, we post that job, and we know where to post it. We're a recruiting firm. We know, technical boards for a technical person, leadership is great, but even more important than the posting of the job is we have an extensive network. A lot of the people that you want aren't looking for a job, or if they are looking for a job, they're going to get scooped up so fast, just like that. So we go out to our extensive network, and when people know that we're looking, they pick up the phone and talk to us. And they also refer friends, refer colleagues. We get really good people, again, with the right performance behavior and attendance mindset that you would want to come into your organization. And of course, once we've got people in, we think it's important that we assess them prior to kind of pushing them through to the interviewing panel. And one of the things that we do, because we own the platform that drives DISCflex, is every single one of the candidates that we deem appropriate from a resume standpoint, the next step is to do a behavioral assessment and see if they will have that potential behavioral fit that will work with the team and for the position and with the hiring manager or their direct supervisor, so that we've got this perfect melding. So we do assess on performance, behavior, and attendance. And then what we do is we say, okay, now that they're screened, we personally, our team, our DISCflex recruiting team, is going to do some really serious, in-depth interviewing with that person. And we go around the table kind of, we'll figure out prior to posting the job, who are the best interviewers to speak to that person. And we work as a team so that everybody's skill set is in the mix prior to getting to your interviewing panel. And then once we advance the candidate to you, we're going to brief you on the performance, behavior, and attendance points that we see, the pros, the cons, how they might fit, what are the types of questions that you might want to ask this person, what are the things you want to pull out in the interview, because the bottom line is you get a very small amount of time in the interviewing process to assess whether this person is going to be the right fit for your team and for your organization. And that's super, super, super important. And then what we do is we circle back. Once you've got the down slate, the close to final selection, we're going to plug that candidate's disc into the disc that we did and into the parameters and into the assessment of the team report. So you can see, okay, if we get this person in versus that person, what is that going to do to the team governing behavior potentially? So we can put a series of reports in front of you at all. By the way, all of this is included in the fee, and our fee is no more than a typical recruiting firm's fee is. So all of this stuff that I'm talking about is included in what we do in the recruiting process, which is, we think, our biggest value add. So once we get those reports and that data, and it's not subjective, these are fully validated reports. Once we get that data, we can talk through the pros, the cons, the mix that you might have, and then when you come down to your final select, you can work on some seriously great validated data. Then you put your job offer out. It doesn't end there for us. Our success is really measured in the success of the people that we bring in, because we have a vested interest in them coming in and being successful. You know, it's a big move, moving companies and picking somebody that you want to stay with. So what we do is we do a 30, 60, and 90-day executive coaching tag up with the people. We also have an open door policy, both with the hiring manager, anybody on the interviewing panel, and with that new hire, to make sure that they're getting started and they have somebody to talk to and somebody to ask questions of who is outside your organization as well. Because some people don't want to ask questions internally, because you know what it's like. New job, you want to put your best foot forward and not ask some of the questions that might be uncomfortable. So that's kind of what we do. And then one of the most important things that we bring to the table is we have an extensive e-learning library. I think it's one of the best in the world. And that e-learning library is open not only to the entire team, included again in our services, but to the hiring manager and the potential recruit. So if we do see something where a skill needs to be ramped up quickly, we can actually assign them some homework or some courses or some reading materials that can help you ramp that new hire up very, very quickly. So anyway, that's what we do in a nutshell. Thank you so much for listening. And if you want any other information about the details of that, please look on our website. But we would love to speak to you about your hiring requirements, about your recruitment, your recruiting requirements in the future. And then one last thing. If you have a hiring team internally, we can also teach them as well. We do train the trainer for our type of hiring processes as well. So click the button. Let us know when you'd like to speak to us. We would welcome the opportunity to take you through our process and get to know you a lot better and get to know what your requirements are. So thank you very much, and we will talk to you soon.